Hey everybody, welcome back to The Stuff of Legend. My name is D-Lo and I've got another video for you guys. Today I'm going to be talking about a number of topics, 5 topics to be exact, where you guys, I think, are going to be really excited about some of these. One of them is very theoretical. Another is a bit of a trailer review. I won't play the audio, but you guys will get a chance to take a look at the imagery. That way, you know, I don't get like copyrighted or anything like that. And then we'll go over some other news that is a little bit different, but I'm really excited to maybe talk about in the future as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. First up, guys, I wanted to say thank you. Welcome back to this channel. If for some reason this live stream goes down, it's because I live in the Bay Area of California and we are potentially looking at a power outage. I wanted to try to get this video recorded, so I'm going live that way. Hopefully you guys can get it, even if it does drop out towards the later part of this. So thank you for bearing with me, but let's go ahead and just keep on going with this. So first topic of the day is we get to meet Superboy on Titans. So if you guys have been watching Titans on either Netflix if you're in Europe or DC streaming service pretty much everywhere else, it's been picking up quite a bit. Season 1 was pretty good. It was not bad. A lot of people were expecting not that great based on what we saw from the trailers, but it really did surprise those of us who did end up watching the TV series. Most people who ended up watching were really appreciative of what they did, the stories that were told, the production value, a little bit of editing issues as far as actual lighting goes. It was quite dark in that respect, but for season 2, man, it is kicking some butt. And they've clearly fixed some of the issues that were happening in season 1. And man, I'm really excited to see what happens next with Superboy. I won't give you guys any spoilers as far as what is happening so far in case you guys want to join in with that. But I will go ahead and click this so that you can see this happening. I'm not going to put the audio through here, but you guys can see right here. You've got Superboy. You've got an older man, which we expect to probably be Mr. Kent on Kent Farms. We can anticipate. And you see, you know, what looks like Crypto. Look at that. He tries the guy tries to gun whip him to put him down, and oh my gosh, it's super cool. You see him start to unleash a little bit. We've seen him before at the end of season 1, where he kind of, if you stuck around, I believe it was an after credit or maybe just before the credits of season 1, but it was really cool. He broke out of the laboratory where he was being experimented on, created essentially, and this is where we see him start to figure out his powers a little bit more other than just the breakout scene. You see him super speed, block some bullets. It's really cool. So that was pretty much the gist of it. I'm not going to go ahead and play that again, but you guys can check that out. The link to this video is in the description. It's not my video, but I wanted to share that with you guys because I think this is really exciting news regarding Titans, and I think you guys can get excited about it as well. So I'll leave that there for you guys. Check it out and let me know in the comments what you thought about this, and are you guys excited? Will this get you to watch Titans if you haven't already? And if you are watching, I want to know who your favorite character is and who you want to see on the show that maybe you haven't already. So let's go ahead and jump to our next topic of the day. The next topic of the day is Funko Verse. So you heard that right, guys. Funko Verse. What does that mean? Is it a show? Is it a movie? No, it's not a show. It's not a movie. Funko Verse is a strategy board game with collectibles and cards, dice, and a board with maps and different types of categories as well for films and fandom, which is really cool because that's what Funko Pop is all about. If you guys know me, you already know that I collect Funko Pops, and this is something that I am very passionate about. I've got a big collection, about 200 Funko Pops at this point in time. I think 201. And I'm really excited. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what I'm talking about here, not about Funko Pops, but about Funko Verse, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some of these things. First of all, it is a board game strategy game, and it's going to come in a variety of different types, styles, but the gameplay will effectively be pretty much the same for all of the different versions of the game. So if you pick one up and you learn to play it, you can automatically jump into the next one with just a couple of tweaks, couple of little tiny gameplay tweaks, depending on what style it is. So for DC, they have a Funko Verse strategy game DC version. It comes in a 4-pack version for 2 to 4 player mode, and that has its own set of maps and also a set of Funko collectibles, as well as the 2-pack version with different characters. You'll notice this one here is Robin and Catwoman, and then the other one is Batman, Batgirl, Joker, and Harley Quinn. So different characters for the 4 and 2 player. And also you notice the maps, if I can highlight this down here, it's going to go ahead and say 2 playable maps, Gotham City Streets and the Joker's Carnival, as well as 4 exclusive Funko Verse pop game figures. And then it goes on to say on the next screen here, 2 playable maps, Arkham Asylum and Catwoman's Penthouse. Those are 2 different game maps, as well as 2 exclusive Funko Pop game figures, which are not the same as the previous. So it's really cool because there's an aspect of Funko collection that happens when you buy these games. Those are also the game pieces, and they are not the same. So if you're like me and you collect Funko Pops, specifically with DC, you'll notice that I have here, and this is not really a Funko video for you guys so much as it is an advertisement for this game. Not that I am affiliated, but just that I am excited about this and I want to share this with you guys. You'll notice that my Jim Lee Funko Pop Catwoman, sorry, the green's kind of cutting out because my green screen, looks very similar to the image that you see on the screen in front of you. But it's not the same Funko Pop. Even, obviously, this one comes on top of a nice stage because it's a landscape type of Funko Pop. Regardless of that, even if you had the individual, it is not the same as any other Funko Pop. And you'll notice that if I have, say, a standard Funko Pop, which I believe is about 4 inches-ish, and this one here, which is 1 to 2 inches. So you got an Iceman Pop and an Aquaman mini keychain figure. Those are 2 different sizes of Funko Pop that are both Funko Pops. And then you also have jumbo Funko Pops. Not the biggest version, but you have these 6-inch versions. And they're all different sizes. So you can see, you know, they come in different shapes and sizes. And some people collect the big ones. Some people collect the medium. Some collect the small. Some collect them all. Now, if you're like me and you collect them all, this is really exciting because the game figures are going to be a new size. I don't know the exact dimensions, but they announced that it will be its own size that you cannot collect from any other store, retailer, or anything unless you buy the game. So it comes with the game as the game pieces. And what's awesome is it's not just DC. So I want to point this out, guys. There is a 2-pack version of the game, which is playable in and of itself, but it's also an expansion. So you can join that with the 4-player map to create a 6-player game using all 6 characters, all the different items and cards and pieces that come with that. You can combine those games to make it an expansion on either of the games. So it's actually really, really cool because they're all within the same format of gameplay. And same with these guys. It also comes in Harry Potter. So Harry Potter also has a 4-pack for the 2 to 4 player game, as well as a 2-player version with Ron and with forgive me, I forgot his name, but it'll come back to me in just a second. But nevertheless, it comes with these guys. So with the 4-player and the 2-player, different maps, different figures, you can collect them, but you can also play this awesome strategy game. So it's really cool. They also have, for some reason, they chose Golden Girls, but you know, if you're like me, you probably haven't seen a lot of this show, Golden Girls, but I know a lot of people got love for this. I got some love for Blanche. That's the only character whose name I know. And also Rick and Morty, which is a fan favorite TV show. So they've got this in a 2-pack, this in a 2-pack, and for Harry Potter and for Batman, they have the 4-player versions in addition to the 2-player. So there's a lot of collectibles coming. They just launched these, which means there will be many, many more strategy game packs and characters and maps to collect as they continue to launch and grow with this series. If it starts to take off, if we grab these, then there will be more collectibles to add, more expansions to join. That'll be so much fun. I'm really excited. I want this game very much because I like these strategy games. Now, more questions you guys may have had. It says here, Funko Verse strategy game coming from BoardGameGeek.com. It says it's approximately 2 to 4 players, but that's based on if you have the 2-player version or the 2 to 4 version. But there is as well combining the 2. So technically you can go up to 6 players, guys. So keep that in mind. It says 20 to 60 minutes, or I would imagine probably 120 minutes if you play a 6-player game. And then it says age 10 and up. And then also, if we scroll down here, here's a quick game system. It says here, face off in the ultimate pop battle. In the Funko Verse strategy game, you can combine your favorite characters and go head to head in 4 exciting game scenarios. Use your character's unique abilities to gain points and achieve victory. Each turn, you select one of your characters and perform 2 actions. Each character has access to basic actions like moving and challenges like fighting one another, as well as several unique abilities that may be performed only by spending ability tokens. And then it talks about the cooldown system and plenty more details. I won't bore you guys with the details unless you're interested, but go ahead and click the links. I put the links to all of these different versions of the board game in the description below, so you can check that out as well, or make the purchase for yourself and start playing the games. Whether you're a Harry Potter fan, Golden Girls, Rick and Morty, or DC, these games are all very, very, very similar in gameplay. They're idealistically the same game with just a few minor tweaks to kind of make it feel a little bit special. And then there's a master rule book for all the games, and then there's a specialized rule book that points out the differences between your game, the specialized game for, like, say, Harry Potter, versus the specialized rules that are for DC or Golden Girls or Rick and Morty. So there's a lot of cool similarities and a few unique differences. I don't know what these differences are as of yet. Probably just the differences between the weapons, the items, the tools that your Funko Pop characters can actually hold. That's another thing, is the hands on the Funko Pops allow you to hold physical items that you get in the game. So that's actually really cool. And the items can provide abilities. So it's a lot of fun. A lot of rolling the dice, cards. I'll show you guys some of the images here. Don't want to bore you too much, but let's go ahead and just take a look. So this is, first we have Joker, Harley, and Catwoman. You'll see that she's holding her whip. Harley's holding a mallet. These are items that can not only be held by those pops, but you can switch the items. So Harley can have the whip and Catwoman can have the hammer, and they're interchangeable. So these are going to be the first Funko Pop action figures that can actually hold items or swap items. I think that's really, really cool. So if you're a fan, if you're a collector, check that out. It's a lot of fun. Same with the Harry Potter. And here's a bunch of the different versions of the game as well. You can see the 4-player modes are on the outside for Harry Potter and for DC, next to their 2-player counterparts. So technically there's 6 games available right now, but 2 of them are the 4-player versions of the 2-player games that exist already. So check that out. There's a lot of fun to be had here. Close-ups of the character pieces with their base stands, because they're game pieces, on the boards. You can see the square tiles on the map, which is how you're gonna move the characters. You can move forward, backwards, sideways, diagonal even. So it's really cool, really intuitive. And you can see kind of the general scale of the board here, some of the items and some of the pieces all over the place. It looks really cool. You can see even something that's really interesting is that they're playing Rick and Morty with the Batgirl, Joker, and what looks to be one of the Golden Girls. So they've completely mixed and matched the games. I was not aware that was something that they could do, but I just figured that out right now. So that's actually really cool, really fun, really cool. You could have, Batman and Robin go up against Harry and Hermione, or Harry and, you can, all that kind of stuff. So that's a lot of fun. I can't wait to get this game and try this out, because this looks epic. Looks super, super cool. And then you can see some of the game pieces, some of the cards. This is the cooldown card. So you can, if you have an ability, it takes 4 turns to replenish, regenerate before you use it again. It slides, and you can move the token on each one of those every time. That way it can, you can keep track of that. It's a very, very cool looking game. I want to try this so bad. So enough of this. I have been talking about this, ranting and raving. There is a quick little instructional if you want to watch a video on what the gameplay is like. It takes just over 5 minutes with intro and outro to this video, but you can check it out. Link in the description below this video. Check that out, and let's go to the next topic. Next topic is Tom Holland is looking to play, potentially. This is the theory. This is the rumor. This is the potential leak I wanted to share with you guys. So check this out. Take it with a grain of salt, and I'll explain why. So first, I will have to read this one a little bit for you, so bear with me. Tom Holland will play 2 different incarnations of Spider-Man, MCU versus Sony. Now, you guys know that we've already talked about Spider-Man is back in the MCU. He is back. He is now again to be used in both Sony and Marvel films, which when I say that, I mean like Homecoming and Far From Home. Yes, they are in the MCU continuity, but they are also they are Sony films. That's not a Marvel film. That's a Sony film that is in the MCU. And this is something that has been stated by Sony and by Marvel at this point. Now, someone who is apparently a pretty famous leaker has come out and made this claim that Tom Holland is going to be part of Sonyverse and also the MCU, but as two separate versions of the same character, effectively. So it's not going to be just Spider-Man jumping back and forth between the Sony movies and the MCU movies. They're talking. This guy is basically saying it's two different Spider-Men, and we're going to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man journey and evolve and grow differently in both universes. So this is something that's really interesting. So it says here, at last, Disney and Sony have managed to ink a new deal. Sorry about my reading, guys. Allowing Tom Holland's Spider-Man to remain where he rightfully belongs. However, he will operate in two different dimensions, two different universes, so to speak, as he ventures into Sony's Spider-Verse while further cementing his importance in the MCU. Recent reports indicate that Tom Holland, with one foot in each wheelhouse, will take on two different versions of Spider-Man, according to famous Marvel leaker and a frequent credible one at that, Mikey Sutton. Tom Holland will be depicting two different versions of the web-slinging Night Monkey. Not literally Night Monkey, but, you know, that's just what this article writer is using to call Spider-Man. And it says here, because Sony has already released a Venom movie, this news isn't exactly a surprise. However, how will the universes differ, and how will Peter Parker transition between the two without resorting to an incongruous conundrum? Announcing to his invite-only Facebook group, Geekosity All Things Pop Culture, Sutton revealed the following. He says this: the Spider-Man appearing in the MCU won't be the same Spider-Man in the Sonyverse. Although both played by Tom Holland, there is an alternate timeline Spider-Man, perhaps caused by the Avengers, a part of the MCU multiverse. So Holland is indeed the hero who can cross cinematic universes, as stated by Kevin Feige. This will be explained by Doctor Strange. And then he says it is 3 a.m. So I won't go on beyond that, but what he's saying here is that effectively Tom Holland is going to play Spider-Man in the Sonyverse and in the MCU. But what this means is that it's a splinter timeline. Doctor Strange will recognize this multiversal split, and it's not like whatever happens to him in the other universe does not necessarily happen to him in this universe, because they're separate. It's two Spider-Men, not one. So you guys have all seen the meme. You guys have all seen Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man in the old 90s cartoon series. You guys have all seen that one. That's basically what we're going to have. So basically, Tom Holland's Spider-Man is going to also eventually probably have to recognize the fact there's another Spider-Man pointing right back at him, and it's him, but it's not him. So that's the confusion there. Now, what I want to say is this guy, leaker, you always have to take a leak with a grain of salt, maybe even two, right? But this does, I will say, make sense. To me, this makes a lot of sense, not only because of what we've seen in Doctor Strange 1 or Ant-Man 1 and 2, or because of what we've seen in Infinity War and Endgame, or even what we've seen in Far From Home, or the fact that Doctor Strange 2 is called the Multiverse of Madness. We know that that Sony, Amy Pascal, has said in the past that they are connected. Now, that was when we got the Kevin Feige, like, cringe face, like, I wasn't ready for that. I don't know if she knows what she's talking about. But we also do know that the trailers for Spider-Man Far From Home, albeit they were deceitful and lying, they hyped up the multiverse a great deal. Also in Spider-Man Far From Home, Mysterio lies about the multiverse, but we know that pretty much everyone else in the MCU has acknowledged that there is a multiverse, just that Mysterio lied about being from it. So this does make a lot of sense. And if we connect that with the previous news that we talked about last week, when Sony, the same day that they were with Marvel, coming to that final agreement about bringing Spider-Man back into the MCU, they greenlit and announced their movie for Madam Web, which is the integral part of the Spider-Man multiverse lore, all of it. So Madam Web is at the heart of the Spider-Verse. That's what she is. That's who she was written to be. And anyone who knows who she is or has seen the 1990s Spider-Man TV series or the early 2000s, they've covered Madam Web quite a bit. This makes a lot of sense. So if Sony is already creating a story now that will automatically create a multiverse within the Sonyverse, and we know that the MCU has been recognizing the multiverse, there's plenty of directions that the MCU could be going with this, but one very specific part that makes it extremely convenient for Tom Holland to have two different Spider-Men is the fact that both the Sonyverse and the MCU are now recognizing the multiverse. It's kind of hard to think beyond that. I mean, this doesn't even sound like a leak anymore. It just sounds like deductive reasoning. And to me, and obviously we still must take this with a grain of salt because we don't know if this guy's legit. We don't know if what he's hearing is legit. He could be hearing something that's legit that may not come to fruition. All of these things are possible. It's kind of a wait and see game, but I want to know what you guys have to say about this. I want to know what you think about this potential leak. And also all of the recent news we've talked about that involves the multiverse, all of the upcoming announcements regarding the multiverse, like Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, WandaVision, a lot of the MCU talk that's been happening as far as like Young Avengers, Kang, and the timeline and the future and all the split universes and timelines, everything that was said by the Ancient One in Endgame, all that jargon. Let me know what you guys think about that. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off right here. Let's go ahead and jump to the next topic of the day. And the next topic of the day is we've got more Crisis on Infinite Earths news, and this one I think is really, really fun. Now, again, this one, the nature of this is social media discussion from reliable sources. So I'm not going to say that this is news, but this is something I think you guys can get excited with me or get upset about. Maybe not with me because I'm excited. But I want you to guys have that opportunity. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So a guy named Pedro, whether or not that is his name, I think it is. But it looks like he might be a journalist. I don't speak Spanish. So, but he says, he tags Mark Guggenheim from CW, who is one of the creative chiefs. He is one of the writers. I believe he's a writer and one of the creative chiefs over in the CW for Flash. I think Arrow as well, and all kinds of stuff. So you can say this guy knows what he's talking about, but he says Pedro talks to this guy. He tags him and says, regarding Nic Cage's Superman, "Do it, you coward. Not really. You're awesome. Hashtag Crisis on Infinite Earths." Obviously, this was meant to get a laugh, meant to get a chuckle. But then you see down here, Mark Guggenheim says, "What makes you think we didn't reach out?" And then he puts a winky face. Now, obviously, this is supposed to be something that is humorous, something that is fun, and but at the same time, Guggenheim himself just said they reached out. So whether or not he's totally kidding and just trying to play off of this a little bit, or if he's saying he reached out, neither of those mean that Nic Cage is Superman in this crossover for Crisis of Infinite Earths. Neither of them means that he isn't. But it does sound to me like, what if we have to take Mark Guggenheim at his word, pretending there is no humor in this whatsoever, then what it means is that at the very least, he's implying that the teams over at CW reached out to Nic Cage to be Superman, or at least to his people. Now, that does not mean that he replied. That doesn't mean that he said yes. That doesn't mean he said no. It just means that if we take him at his word, forego any possibility of humor, that he reached out. And to me, that's really, really exciting. We know that they reached out to Michael Rosenbaum, and they didn't give him much. They didn't tell him what he was going to play. They didn't tell him. They didn't give him a script. They didn't tell him if he was going to get. I guess they we're going to compensate him a little bit, but they couldn't offer him a lot of money. There was basically nothing he can go on, and they need an answer like right now. So he said no. I'm going to guess that may or may not be what they did for Nic Cage as well. Especially given that I think that there's probably more fans of Michael Rosenbaum's Lex than there ever has been for Nic Cage's Superman. And I am a fan of Nic Cage as Superman. I like the idea of Nic Cage as Superman. I want him to get a chance to play that, even if it's ridiculous, because I love that. But this is really fun. This is really exciting. And you guys should totally check this out. Maybe comment, maybe write to Guggenheim, see if you can pick his brain, convince him to reach out again, make a sweeter deal. I'm excited. I would love for this to be the case. Why would we not want 4 Supermen on this crossover? I want all of this. In fact, get Dean Cain down there and have him be Superman as well. He's already on Supergirl. They might as well do that. So, in my opinion, this would be a great thing. But I want to know what you guys think about this. So, let me know in the comments what you think about this. I'm super stoked. Let's keep moving. We got one more topic regarding Crisis on Infinite Earths, guys, and then that will do it for this episode. So, next up, we have the Arrow character confirmed to have a crucial role in Crisis on Infinite Earths is Lila Michaels. So this is really cool. So if you guys don't know, the wife of John Diggle on Arrow, if you guys know the character's name, we have Audrey Marie Anderson as Lila. Now, this character is supposed to be someone that we maybe have not heard of just yet. Maybe some deep cut fans from the comics will know about this. I'll admit I did not know this character at all, but it says here, let's go ahead and read this. It's been confirmed that Arrow and Flash character Lila Michaels will be Harbinger during this year's 5-part crossover Crisis on Infinite Earths. Although some fans may be surprised by this bombshell, the comic storyline of Crisis saw Lila raised by the Monitor, and as an adult, she assisted him in grooming superheroes and villains to team up and battle against the titular event. It says here, she later adopted the moniker Harbinger because of her power to create doppelgangers. And you can see from this image, it shows Superman and Superman holding, Supergirl and Wonder Woman, and it shows like the whole multiverse just colliding with one another. It looks wild, it looks crazy, but basically it looks like Harbinger or Lila Michaels is going to be the pivotal character. Maybe you might even make the argument that she's one of the main characters, if not the main character, or certainly have plenty of spotlight, because she will be the one that is kind of birthing forth all of these clones, these doppelgangers, making all of these other Superman and other characters come to life. Now, if they use her the same way that they used her in the comics, then we may be looking at a considerable amount of doppelgangers. And the way that we know that they've been casting special characters from other iterations of DC universes. Like, for instance, you got Tyler Hoechlin as Superman, you got Brandon Routh as Superman. We're gonna have potentially Clark Kent, played by Tom Welling. There's going to be a number of different versions. It looks like they're going with, like, if they're doing Lois, they're doing the one from CW, and they're also doing the one from Smallville. I would be willing to bet that the doppelgangers we're going to see are going to be significant actors and actresses that have played those roles in the past. So I'm excited to see what they're going to be doing. It looks like total and utter madness. I'm so pumped. And for the first time in a while, I'm crazy excited to watch a CW superhero show, which I have not been doing for quite some time. But I would love to get back into it, because I loved the first few seasons of most of these TV shows, and I just can't wait. I'm really excited to see all of this fan service done right, hopefully, in this crossover. So you guys go ahead and read the rest of the article on your own. Lots of fun, lots of new news to check out. And that'll pretty much do it. So I wanted to just basically leave it there. What do you guys think about all of this? Do you guys like seeing this news from Crisis on Infinite Earths? Do you guys want me to continue to follow this type of news? I want to bring this to you guys, certainly. And I hope that you guys get a kick out of this news and speculation. That's part of the fun as well, is all the speculation about what will happen, what could happen, who else could be part of this. We've still got time before they make their full announcements and say, you know what, that's it, that's basically all that we got here. It's kind of like Christmas early for nerds. because there's all this fan service is what we've been wanting for so long. Now we're finally getting it. So you guys, let me know what you think down below. Let's have those conversations, and I can't wait to hear from you guys again next time. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please click the like button. Also be sure to click the subscribe button if you haven't already, and please turn on notifications so that you can be alerted right away when I go live next time. That way you guys won't miss a single thing. Anyways, thank you guys so much. I will see you guys next time right here on The Stuff of Legend.